Greetings, all. Welcome to Aquarian Diary. I'm your host, John Irving. It is February 28th, 2023. Continuing the theme of good news, there's another shift occurring soon, which I thought I would draw people's attention to. Much of what I've done on my channel is fairly abstract in a lot of ways, and I think it's helpful for people to focus on what should be some positive shifts for a significant number of people. And that is, in this case, that on March 7th of 2023, Saturn will shift from Aquarius to Pisces. Now, Saturn isn't all bad. It can provide us with a lot of concentration, focus, and discipline, and we can get a lot done under its influence. But it's not associated with lighthearted periods, especially when we are being challenged by hard aspects in transit. The 11th house, which Aquarius rules, governs society at large groups and organizations, wishes, dreams, and hopes, technology and innovation, the harvest that we reap from all of the hard effort that we put in the 10th house, and so on. I'll be putting some dates on the screen. Saturn has been transiting Aquarius since March 21st of 2020, all the way through to March 7th of this year, like I said. So, of course, during that time, Saturn would have conjuncted any critical planets or points that someone might have in Aquarius, and especially if it's a personal planet like your Sun, your Moon, Ascendant, Mercury, Venus, Mars. But of course, also planets like Jupiter, Neptune, Uranus, Pluto, or God forbid, Saturn itself, and your Saturn return, which I experienced. Man, I am glad that that is over. I really need to do an episode on that. And while in Aquarius, Saturn has been squaring Scorpio and Taurus and opposing Leo. So those four signs have been under the gaze of Saturn in rather challenging ways for 2 years. That's a fairly long period of time. And like I said, Saturn can be challenging because it forces us to deal with reality, sometimes in ways that we would rather not. And it can often be a period where the wheat is separated from the chaff, so to speak. And all of these aspects, the conjunction, the squares, and the opposition, are definitely challenging. Personally, I've always found that squares are one of the most challenging because with the conjunction, the energies kind of meld to some degree. And with the opposition, you can kind of go back and forth between those two polarized energies. But in the square, it's kind of like there's a constant grinding tension where there's no resolution, which can be very frustrating. So people with significant points or planets in Scorpio or Taurus probably know what I'm talking about. And there's another interesting thing here too about the squares. So like I said, Saturn's been in Aquarius, going to move into Pisces, and while in Aquarius it was squaring Taurus and Scorpio, but when it moves into Pisces, it will be trining Scorpio and sextiling Taurus. So it kind of goes from challenging to supportive. Now, why does this matter? And again, check the graphs on the screen. Well, I'll give you an example. The past year or so, I had some fairly challenging transits, very frustrating ones like Saturn opposing my Mars. Oh my God. But at the same time, during that whole period, Saturn was trining my Moon, which is a very supportive influence. It's a strengthening influence. So even though I had several really annoying transits going on the whole time, I also had this trine from Saturn to my Moon, and it just gave me this endurance to just keep plowing through. And although it was definitely frustrating at times, I just had this elevated perseverance thanks to that support from Saturn. So you really have to consider all of the aspects that are going on in your chart to get a full picture and understanding of how things are going to play out. But we can say with certainty that when Saturn moves into Pisces, in just over a week from when I'm recording this, that pressure from Saturn is going to come off and lighten up for Aquarius, Scorpio, Leo, and Taurus. A very recent episode was also a good news episode, and it was talking about how when Pluto moves into Aquarius, it's going to lift some pressure off Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. That's kind of on a different scale. Saturn orbits around every 29 years. Pluto, on the other hand, orbits around 248. So Pluto spends a lot more time in each sign than does Saturn. So what I'm describing here for Aquarius, Scorpio, Taurus, and Leo, it's not quite on the same depth or scale as Pluto, but it's still notable. Like you may be able to lighten up, relax, and enjoy yourself in ways that you haven't for a while. And those who have gotten through these transits in integrity may even see some rewards for all that focused and dedicated effort, because Saturn does give rewards when due. And I've already done a whole episode on Saturn transiting Pisces coming up. See episode description. But that wasn't really focused on the positive expressions of this, which I'm addressing here. So I hope that makes sense. Just to summarize again, if you have significant points in Aquarius, Scorpio, Leo, or Taurus, those challenging aspects are about to end. And I'm talking about the whole sign here. Generally, transits are most intense when they're within a tight orb of a few degrees. For sure, 2 degrees. But such transits are in effect the whole time they're in a sign. Although, like I said, much more intense in tighter orb. So there you go. Those affected can look forward to this shift. A couple house cleaning things that some of you may find interesting. One is that yesterday, on February 27th, I posted on my community tab about the crazy energies that I've been experiencing lately. And a whole lot of people chimed in on that, and there was a lot of very interesting discussion. So if you've been experiencing really intense energies lately, you may want to check that out. There's some interesting perspectives that people have shared about what they're experiencing. Also, I had floated the idea of setting up Patreon, and a number of people said they would support that, which I greatly appreciate. But I need to figure out how to do that without distracting from my core mission, which is producing content for YouTube. So I will continue to ponder that. Thanks for your patience. I have made some changes to my astrology reading page, which are done by Zoom. So check that out if you're interested. I also had some technical problems. If you tried to contact me and didn't hear back from me, please try again. I apologize for that. So thanks again for all your thoughts, comments, and support. I really appreciate it. Take care and have a good day, and I'll talk to you again soon.